This is part two of Jong. We're going to get a little bit more into different postures and a little bit deeper into what we're doing internally and why. Okay, so let's jump right into it. Now, if you haven't already, go ahead and practice the first postures. Okay, and then you can add this to whatever you learn. So I would do the first, like what we did in the first video. I would do that first, and then if you still feel like you have some energy or you can keep going, add some of these other postures and go from there. And you can do these in any order. Um, and then also, if you like, you can just do one posture and just stick with that for the day. So it's up to you. There's a lot of flexibility in this, so give it a shot. Okay, let's get to it. Now today um, we're going to change things up a little bit. Okay, last time, if you notice, my feet were a little bit further apart than shoulder width, just a little bit. Okay, and also my hands were a little bit further, kind of separated a fair bit. So today we're going to bring it in a little more. Let's start with our feet together. Establish your posture. Make sure the string is pulling from your head. Another way to look at it is your spine is stretching you, kind of elongating your body. The shoulders are resting. You also want to remember to have your ankles empty, your wrists empty, waist empty. Now, while we're here, I want you to notice something. If your knees are locked like this, what happens to your tailbone? Yeah, try it. Lock your legs. Okay, you should feel your tailbone move up. And then also feel what happens here in the front. Okay, try to take a nice deep breath. You should feel some resistance here. Okay, this is not what we want. So when you bend your knees, try this. Bend and sink down just a little bit. Let the tailbone drop, sink. Okay, all this should just become nice and free. And then you can breathe openly, no restriction, nice and easy. Even now, after all these years, I still catch myself sometimes standing like this, but something feels a little bit wrong. I think that's the difference. After all the years of practice, now if I'm standing like this for a little while, I feel some tension here. Something feels wrong with my breathing, and then I bend my knees and yes, I can breathe again. Okay, all right. Okay, take a few deep breaths, clear the mind. We'll get a little into philosophy today too, just a little bit. Nice deep breaths. Okay. Now we're going to step out just a little bit. Yeah. So my feet are closer together today than they were for the first video. And this is something I want you to do, is to switch things up a little bit and feel the difference. Decide for yourself what works best for you. And maybe it'll vary from day to day too. Most likely it will. Now, I feel that the weight on my ankles is out to the side. Okay, it's too much to the right. I want the weight evenly distributed across the surface of my feet. So there's a couple ways I could go about this. I could use my ankle to flatten my feet, right? But then I have tension in my ankles, right? And we want the ankles to remain empty. So I'm just going to make a slight adjustment with my legs, yeah, like this. Now my weight is evenly distributed and my ankles are empty. So now I'm at the place where I want to be. Knees are bent, tailbone heavy, ankles empty, wrists empty, shoulders heavy, head floating. If you've had bad posture for a long time, you might feel some strain in your neck because the muscles have kind of formed in a certain way. You might be stretching them essentially. Okay, now first video, we let the hands float up like this and held in front of our chest. Okay, so you've already seen this one. I'm going to move quickly through the next ones up until we get to a new one. So from here, we lower down following a trajectory. Okay, I'm gonna have my hands closer together today too. See how that feels. See the difference. How's it feel in your shoulders when you do this? How's it feel in your fingertips? Yeah, you might notice kind of a rush of energy in some some positions and not others. You might make a slight adjustment. And, wow, you really feel a difference. Okay, then we rose up, resting on the beach ball. Again, you can move your arms out or in a little bit. Figure out where you really want to be. This is eye level. Keep checking through your body. Keep breathing. Keep those muscles nice and relaxed. I'm not sure if we've gone through this before or not, but the Chinese say there are two kinds of strength, Qin and Li. Li, I believe, yeah, Li comes from the bones, or actually they would mean the muscles as well. And then the Qin strength comes from the tendons, they say, or the ligaments. The tendons and ligaments are pliable, they're flexible, they're softer than the bones and the muscles, right? So that's where the real power comes from. Now, if you try to support your arms like this with the Li strength, and I hope I'm getting that right, I'll check later, but if you try to support this with your muscles, you're going to get tired pretty quickly and you're not going to get any benefit from this exercise. So you have to kind of empty your arms and your fingers and hands, right? Okay. We're going to move on to a different posture here. Okay, we're going to lower down. And we're going to fan out just like this. Now, as you go out, you're turning from the palm. You're not turning from the wrist or anything like that. You turn from the palm and everything else follows. Palm first, wrist follows, elbow follows there, like this. Okay, so we're coming down here, fanning out, turning with the palms. Wrists stay empty. Now, you'll notice again, this is flat. Nice curve to the fingertips. And I'm going to get a little bit into philosophy here as we stand in this posture. The concept of Wu Wei in Chinese, it's a Taoist philosophy, and it means nothing's doing. Now, this is kind of a strange concept in Western, in the West. I mean, we don't have this kind of concept. However, what it means is that when you do nothing, or you don't try to impose your will on something, that's when everything works the best. So, kind of a light example of this is, as I was saying, with the Qin and the Li strength, the two different strengths. One, you're imposing, trying to actively hold your arms up, and the other one you're really not. It's kind of a disconnect, right? And your arms stay up, and the circulation flows better, the energy flows better, right? You don't get tired. It's inexhaustible, they say. Now this can go for anything. Say relationships, right? You don't try too hard. If you try too hard, problems are going to arise. You try to get everything done in a day. You've got these worries on your mind. It's just going to kind of slow your progress down. Another example I like to use for this Wu Wei, and I practice this all the time. If I have a tissue that I'm throwing in the garbage, I'll throw it across the room. Now, if I have the desire to get it into the garbage can, I'm not going to get it in. But if I just let go of the desire and just focus on the garbage can and just let the tissue go, actually, I can get it into the garbage can from quite a distance pretty regularly. But the trick is, it's not me, right? If I start to take credit for this kind of thing, then the ego builds and the desire to keep up my streak builds, and then I start missing the garbage can, and I have to go back to the beginning again. And so Wu Wei. Nothing's doing. Everything works well on its own. You don't need to impose your will. Kind of relaxing, right? Okay. So from here, we're going to turn up, and we're going to shift our weight. For this one, we'll shift our weight to the right foot, and as we do, we're going to put our left foot out. Okay. Now this leg is going to be substantial, and this one insubstantial. In Taoist philosophy, there's always this kind of interplay between what they say the yin and the yang, right? The yin is the substantial, the yang is the insubstantial. Just like the earth is substantial and the sun is insubstantial, or it's gas, actually, right? So in everything in the world, we have the yin and the yang, the substantial and insubstantial. And when they work together, then you have life in whatever it is. You got your computer. Your computer is yin, it's substantial, but it doesn't work without the yang electricity, right? So you plug that in, your computer comes to life, you unplug it, computer dies, or you smash the body, right? Smash through the body of the computer, also it's going to die, no matter how much electricity you have, right? So it has to be both all the time. Now, you've got your substantial and insubstantial here. This should be nice and empty. Okay. However, take a look at my posture. When I do this, I'm not leaning back, not leaning forward or anything like this. Again, I'm just sinking directly over this leg. Your leg might get tired at first. First few times you practice this. You don't need to practice it terribly long. Just maybe let it go a little bit longer than you feel comfortable. But use that kind of that time to change your mind to something more positive, more constructive, right? Don't focus on the pain. Don't focus on the discomfort of your leg. Focus on your posture, your muscles, keeping that ankle empty, both ankles empty actually. And we'll get a little bit more into some philosophy here as we raise up. Okay, so from here, we're raising up. Now, this hand, the left hand with the insubstantial, is out in front. Now, this hand and this wrist, right, this arm, is substantial. So it's a cross thing like this. This one is insubstantial. This one's back. Both wrists are flat. Fingers still have the curve. Arms are curved. Sinking. Now, our arms are bent. Wrists are straight. Fingers are bent. One thing you'll find in Chinese philosophy is they say, seek the straight from the bent. Okay. Again, might be a little bit confusing of a statement. Seek the straight from the bent. So what I want you to do, try this, is even in this position without changing, I want you to imagine that your arms are extending into infinity. You can imagine that limitless energy is just shooting through your fingertips out into the future, like this, out to the distance. Though your arms are bent, they're extending straight out. You'd be surprised how much power this gives your arms. Without this mental imagery, intention, there's really not much power in this stance alone, right? Seeking the straight from the bent, extending out into the future. And again, this has nothing to do with muscle here. If you come to a point where you meet up with somebody and they push on you in this position, most likely at the beginning you'll try to resist them with muscle, and it won't work. You won't have any strength. If you can let that go and really use that imagery and trust it, you'll have a lot more power, and they'll have most likely, especially if you practice this a lot, but there's no way they'll be able to move you. Okay, now we're going to bring the left foot back and just switch. Okay, so now we've got the substantial, insubstantial. Substantial, insubstantial. Take a look at my posture. My posture is not the best. I'm working on it slowly but surely. We're still making adjustments. My arm was too far in. I let it float out a little bit. Directing the energy straight forward. Nice deep breathing. Filling up all the way down here, You're kind of massaging those organs. One of the good things about this is if you're not very well practiced and your legs are weak, uh, it will kind of force you to start breathing well. I'm gonna turn back to the front here. Okay, now I'm going to step together, adjust a little bit here, and bring my hands in front of the dantian. We did this one last time, but we'll close with this. Again, this is just how I do the sequence. And you can do whatever you feel comfortable with. Even the fingers, you can seek the straight from the bent, no matter what position you're in. Kind of creates a fullness inside your hands, your fingers. So again, you'll see a lot in Chinese philosophy that this emptiness and fullness and the interchange between the two. Everything has to change, they say. Otherwise, you get stagnation and death. Now, last thing I want to talk about before we close is the movement of the qi. They say the mind moves the qi, or where the mind goes, the qi follows. Where the eyes go, the qi follows as well, right? So, how you direct your mind determines where the energy goes. Now, if you've got millions of random thoughts going through your head, unfocused, undirected, then ultimately you're scattering your energy, you're wasting it. And the vital energy is very important to your longevity, they say. So, too many worry, especially negative thoughts, right? Greed, worry, anger, scatters your energy, shortens your life. So that's like a double whammy, right? You worry too much, you get angry too much. Yeah, you're not really enjoying life then, and you're shortening your life. So it's just go out, enjoy the day, listen to some birds, breathe the air. Lovely. Okay, so when you're moving the energy through your body, especially when you're doing an exercise like this, you want to sink the qi down, right? Especially in the first stage, they say the heart is the fire, right? And the abdomen is the water. You sink that fire down below the water into the dantian, right? The fire boils the water, and the steam circulates your body. Now, if you don't sink that qi, the heart fire can go to the head, kind of make you crazy with a lot of thoughts, and the abdominal region full of water stagnates and disease develops. So direct that fire down, right? Now, there's so many layers to Tai Chi, Qigong, so many layers. It goes extremely deep. don't expect to get it all at the beginning. In fact, don't expect to get it all for years and years and years. Slowly add layer at a time. Okay, so this would be the first layer. From the dantian, you sink down through the legs, down to the heels. Okay, that would be the second step. And then from there, you circulate up through the head, right? So you're moving the energy through your whole body. But first things first. Whoop, there we go. First things first. Try to sink that energy down to the dantian. Now, you might have enough on your plate just trying to maybe relax your muscles. Focus on that. That's more important. You have to build the foundation properly. So you relax your muscles. Oh, and then let's say, okay, you're breathing. So your muscles are relaxed, and you're kind of conscious of that as you move into the breathing. So you keep that awareness of your muscles, and you add the breathing. And then you remember the emptiness in the wrists, the waist, the knees and ankles. So you're adding that layer on, right? Well, let's say a few months go by. So then you try seeking the straight from the bent. Oh, you see, you're adding another layer there. You feel like you got that working for you, and you start sinking that chi down from the heart to the dantian. Maybe a couple years have gone by. That's different for everybody, and it doesn't matter how long it takes. And then before you know it, you're circulating through the whole body. And then you really start to notice that your life is improving. You don't worry about things much. You don't get angry. Your reflexes become a little bit sharper. You don't have pains in your body. You've got a lot more power available to you. This is a daily practice. Without the daily practice, you're not really going to see any results. Okay, we're going to move back to the middle, back to the center, slowly drawing in. Ever so slowly. Left over right for men, right over left for women. And you know what? Honestly, I'm not 100% sure on that. Something I gotta check into. Okay. Elbows in on the sides and feet together. Going to keep my knees bent so that I don't develop this tension in my center here after all that wonderful work I just did. Okay, and that's it for this one. Now, we've talked a little bit about philosophy, gotten a little bit into Taoism, and some of the more advanced postures. Now, this is a good practice, and I would say from here, typically, well, personally, from here I go into some other kind of qigong that involves movement or Tai Chi itself. Next time, we're going to get into 5 animal qigong. I feel like this is a good progression. We're not going to get into very complicated movements of Tai Chi just yet. So 5 animal does a lot to kind of stretch and circulate, and also to kind of massage the internal organs. One of the things that they talk about in Eastern medicine and philosophy is that uh, the idea that as animals, your organs hang from your spine and kind of bang against each other. And in doing so, it kind of massages and vitalizes the organs. Now, humans, we've developed standing up um, over the past, I don't know, 25 years or so. So our organs rest on top of each other, which creates a, what would you call it, like a, um, well, you don't get the circulation, like you don't get um, the space between the organs. So they rest on top of each other, and you can develop kind of problems based on that lack of uh, freedom and the lack of movement and interaction and stuff like this. It's just kind of all sandwiched together. So one thing that the 5 animal qigong does is it really kind of starts to move those organs against each other. All right, so we'll get into that next time. Hope you enjoy, and let me know if you have any questions, okay?